So, I'm going to do this daily routine I've been showing. I'm going to do the short version today because lunch was slow and I got to get back out on the road and make more deliveries. Pikachu here is eager to start the meditation practice. And if you enjoy this, please like, share, and subscribe. Help me raise awareness about my situation. Google me. Google Dan Baker, political prisoner. And check out Dan Baker combat footage also. And yeah, we'll get started right away. I'm going to do about 30-40 minutes each of meditation, martial arts, and yoga. Probably in that order today. So I'm bringing up the meditation that I do every day because they have much nicer voice than me. So we'll listen to the Buddhist nuns and they will guide us through the meditation.
We do the practices with this aspiration to be of benefit to beings, not to harm them, to benefit them. And in our understanding, the best benefit is to actually for beings to be liberated from cyclic existence. And we aim to become Buddhas in order to help beings to be free in this way. So generate those thoughts in your own way. So Venerable Chodron has laid out this sadhana for us, helping us to generate these various mind states. And she starts by having us think about all of our potential, all the kind of positive qualities that we can develop. Infinite love, compassion, wisdom, skillful means. So imagine what it would feel like to be those qualities. Just let yourself be love, be wisdom, try to feel the expansiveness and peace in your heart, the wisdom that it takes to have this kind heart, to be unencumbered in any way, vast and expansive. Can take in everything that's happening in this world, reaching out to every being, human and otherwise, to benefit each one. So now imagine that these qualities of love, compassion, wisdom, skillful means appear in front of you in the form of Shakyamuni Buddha. So imagine this Buddha in front of you, in the space in front of you made of radiant, transparent light. He's sitting on a throne. above which is an open lotus flower and cushions of the sun and moon discs. This entire visualization is made of radiant, transparent light, but you're imagining a living being with a light body. So you feel yourself in the presence of the Buddha. The Buddha's body is golden in color. He wears the robes of a monastic. His right hand, with the palm down, rests on his right knee, in the earth-touching mudra. And his left hand is in his lap holding a bowl of nectar. And this nectar is the medicine to cure our afflictions and all of our hindrances. And the Buddha's face is very beautiful. You can look at the Buddha's eyes. He's smiling, his eyes are smiling. He's looking at you with total acceptance. And as he looks at you, he's also encompassing all sentient beings. The Buddha's eyes are very peaceful, long and narrow. His lips are red and his earlobes are long. Imagine rays of light radiating from every pore of the Buddha's body. This golden light going out to all the parts of the universe, touching beings, carrying miniature Buddhas to help beings. And as they complete their work, they dissolve back into the Buddha. The Buddha is surrounded by the entire lineage of spiritual teachers, all the meditational deities, innumerable other Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Arhats, Dakas, Dakinis, Dharma protectors. And at the side, near each spiritual mentor, is an elegant table, and on it are Dharma books. The sounds of the Dharma fill the air. And they're all so happy that we're here doing this together. Imagine their minds just blissful and peaceful, gazing at all sentient beings. So you imagine that actually you are surrounded by all sentient beings in human form. Your mother of this life is on your left. Your father of this life is on your right. Any people you have difficulty with, you imagine in front of you, facing the Buddha, keeping them there for protection. Family and friends are nearby. Countless strangers fill the space around you. And all of us are looking to the Buddha for guidance. So first we need to cultivate a sense of refuge. So we think of all the dangers of cyclic existence. Just think about how things are not secure. We run into dissatisfaction often, dukkha often. And people, all the beings around us, all the sentient beings around us, are also in the same boat, floundering in cyclic existence. And many of them have not met any kind of teachings that will help them out of this quagmire. So we generate compassion. And now think of the wonderful qualities of the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, and generate this sense of confidence in them and their ability to guide you out of all of these recurring problems refuge, we need to cause this kind of concern, this kind of alarm, fear type, and also this confidence and faith and the compassion. So it is possible, on the basis of your present life and mind, to free yourself from all of these undesirable experiences. So resolve to explore that possibility to the fullest. Feel great trust and confidence in the three jewels, and open your heart to rely upon them to guide you and others from all of these difficulties of cyclic existence and bring us to the peace, liberation, and full awakening. So as we do these refuge verses, starting here, now we're on the top of page 21, we'll be taking refuge in the Buddha, and we imagine actually leading all of the sentient beings around us and going for refuge. And we visualize white, radiant light flowing from all of the Buddhas, the spiritual mentors, the Bodhisattvas, all of these holy beings flowing into us and all the beings around us. And this light completely purifies all of our destructive karmic imprints and afflictions. And it also brings all the realizations of the path. So put your hands in prayer position. Namo Guru Vya. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Dharmaya. Namo Sangaya. Namo Guru Vya. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Dharmaya. Namo Sangaya. Namo Guru Vya. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Dharmaya. Namo Sangaya. Namo Guru Vya. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Dharmaya. Namo Sangaya. Namo Guru Vya. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Dharmaya. Namo Sangaya. Namo Guru Vya. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Dharmaya. Namo Sangaya. Namo Guru Vya. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Dharmaya. Namo Sangaya. So feel that you've come under the protection of the three jewels. And now we turn our thoughts to others and think about how much we depend on other beings for everything that we have, everything we know, everything we use, everything we enjoy. Our food, clothing, resources of every kind. These come due to the efforts of others. Our knowledge, talents, good qualities, these too are developed due to the kindness of others. And our ability to practice the Dharma certainly depends on others who brought the teachings to us over the millennia by generating realizations in their mind and teaching. So this is a very great kindness, all of these things we want to bring to mind. Our innermost wish is to be free from suffering. And this is the case for everyone else as well. We want to be happy, and all beings want to be happy. And like us, they encounter many difficulties, problems, sufferings. And usually, actually, their difficulties are more so than our own. Not always, but often. And when we examine our capacity to help beings, we find that we're actually quite limited. And we know from our practice that if we can reduce our anger, our attachment, our ignorance, our various faults, and if we can increase all of our good qualities, we're really going to be in a position to benefit beings. Imagine if we had just this generous heart that gives so easily, takes delight in giving, the kind of ethics that doesn't harm, has that just ingrained fortitude, loving kindness, compassion, wisdom. We'll be in excellent position to help beings by having our good qualities developed. And if we develop them fully, like a Buddha does, then we'll be able to be of the greatest benefit to beings. So we generate this altruistic intention in order to be able to benefit beings most effectively. So as we take refuge and generate bodhicitta, imagine that light is flowing into you from all of these Buddhas and holy beings, and it's flowing into you and all the sentient beings around you. So we're on the top of page 22. I take refuge until I have awakened in the Buddhas, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the merit I create by engaging in generosity and the other far-reaching practices, may I attain Buddhahood in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I have awakened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the merit I create by engaging in generosity and the other far-reaching practices, may I attain Buddhahood in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I have awakened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the merit I create by engaging in generosity and the other far-reaching practices, may I attain Buddhahood in order to benefit all sentient beings. So imagine the Buddha is so pleased with your altruistic intention, and a replica emerges from the Buddha, comes to the crown of your head, melts into golden light, flows into you. Feel that you and the Buddha have become inseparable. very close to the Buddha and allow your mind to be transformed and inspired. Let go of all conceptions you have about yourself. Let go of any self-denigrating thoughts. Let go of the concept of inherent existence and meditate on emptiness. At your heart appears a small Buddha made of light. He radiates the light of wisdom and compassion in all directions throughout the entire universe. And this light transforms all sentient beings into Buddhas and all environments into pure lands, which are places where all the circumstances are conducive to practicing the Dharma and generating realizations. So imagine this. You've transformed all sentient beings into Buddhas and all environments into pure lands in your imagination. But why hasn't this become a reality? We sentient beings have bias, prejudice, we lack love, compassion, and joy. So now we want to wish ourselves and others to have all of these qualities. So we contemplate the four immeasurables. We do this to reinforce our own felt experience of love, compassion, joy, and equanimity for everyone. Friends, strangers, enemies, relatives, people you don't like, people you don't trust, anyone, everyone. So as we say those four immeasurables, you want to listen to yourself say the words and contemplate as you recite. We'll pause between each of the four. May all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. May all sentient beings be free of suffering and its causes. May all sentient beings not be separated from sorrowless bliss. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment, and anger. So, in order to achieve what we've just been aspiring towards, we need to purify our negativities, and we need a lot of merit. We need to abandon things and adopt things. So when we do the 7-limb prayer, this encompasses all this abandoning and adopting of things. So we'll pause after each line. And you want to have your hands in the prayer position for this. Reverently, I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind. So imagine yourself and all the beings, the sentient beings around you, making prostrations to all the holy beings in front of you in the field of merit, repeatedly prostrating. And present clouds of every type of offering, actual and mentally transformed. So imagine offering everything beautiful to the Buddha and all the holy beings. You can fill the sky with offerings, make it very lovely and beautiful. You can think of flowers and fields and just everything that you love. Offer it to all the holy beings. You can do this repeatedly. I confess all my destructive actions accumulated since beginning this time. So now we do like a glance meditation of the four opponent powers. So for this, bring to mind something that you wish to purify, some fault or mistake. Bring it clearly to mind and generate regret for that. And then the other prana powers are taking refuge and generating bodhicitta, which we're doing in the practice. The practice itself will be the remedial action, but make a determination not to do this action again. And rejoice in the virtues of all holy and ordinary beings. So think of common sentient beings like ourselves, the holy beings, and delight and rejoice in all of the virtue created by any kind of being. Let go of any jealousy, envy, and just rejoice in the goodness in the world. Use your own life experience. Think of things, people that you want to rejoice. And then the next verse. Please remain until cyclic existence ends. So now we offer a double dorje. This symbolizes long life. We offer this to the holy beings. We do this requesting them to live long, to always be a part of our life. And you can do this multiple times in your imagination. And then the next verse. And turn the wheel of Dharma for sentient beings. So again, make this offering. You're offering with both hands this beautiful 1,000-spoke Dharma wheel, golden in color. Offering this to the teachers and the Buddhas to guide you and to continue to teach the Dharma. And then the seventh limb. I dedicate all the virtues of myself and others to the Great Awakening. So now we steer these limbs toward full awakening for ourselves and all beings. And now we'll offer the mandala. Here we imagine everything beautiful in the universe, offering it to all the holy beings with the wish that they will continue to teach and guide us and that we can generate realizations in our mind. This ground anointed with perfume, flowers strewn Mount Meru, for land, sun, and moon, imagined as a Buddha land and offered to you. May all beings enjoy this pure land. The objects of attachment, aversion, and ignorance, friends, enemies, and strangers, my body, wealth, and enjoyments, I offer these without any sense of loss. Please accept them with pleasure and inspire me and others to be free from the three poisonous attitudes. Idam Guru Ratna Mandalakam Niryatayami. So imagine all the holy beings are just delighted and they receive your offerings. And the offerings melt into light and dissolve into them. And these all absorb into the Buddha's heart. And then immediately he radiates light back to you, filling your body and mind. And this light inspires you to accomplish the path to full awakening. So in order to progress along the path, we need to develop realizations. And in order to do this, we need the inspiration of the lineage of spiritual mentors, especially your principal teacher or your root guru, who is the one who has touched your heart deeply. If you don't have a specific teacher, just think about Shakyamuni Buddha, or maybe you have a connection in your mind with his holiness. And we make this request on page 25. Glorious and precious root guru, sit upon the lotus and moon seat on my crown, guiding me with your great kindness. Bestow upon me the attainments of your body, speech, and mind. And so then, at this point, you imagine that a replica of your teacher in the aspect of the Buddha emerges from the Buddha in front of you. And it comes to sit on a lotus and moon disc on the crown of your head, facing the same direction as you. So then this Buddha on the crown of your head is going to act as an advocate for you to request inspiration from the entire field of merit as we continue the request. And we're doing the long one on page 26. Buddha, unequal teacher and guide, venerable protector Maitreya, successor, superior Sangha prophesied by Buddha, to you three Buddhas and Bodhisattvas I make request. Buddha, head of the Shakya clan, the foremost guide, peerless in expounding emptiness, Manjushri, embodiment of the Buddha's complete wisdom, exalted Nagarjuna, best of the superiors who sees the profound meaning. To you three crowning jewels of clear exposition I make request. Atisha, upholder of this great vehicle, who sees the profundity of dependent arising. Drome Rinpoche, elucidator of this good path. To these two ornaments of the world I make request. Avalokiteshvara, great treasure of oblivious compassion. Manjushri, masteress, flawless wisdom. Tsongkhapa, crown jewel of the snowy land sages. Losang Drapa, I make request at your feet. Holder of the white lotus, embodiment of all the conqueror's compassion. Guide benefiting migrating beings in the land of snow mountains and beyond. Sole deity and refuge, Tenzin Gyatso, at your feet I make request. The eyes through whom the vast scriptures are seen. Supreme doors for the fortunate who would cross over to spiritual freedom. Illuminators whose wise means vibrate with compassion. To the entire line of spiritual mentors I make request. So imagine all of the figures in the field of merit melting into light and dissolving into you. Into the central figure of the Buddha in front of you. All the Buddhas, the Bodhisattvas, the Arhats, Dakas, Dakinis, Dharma protectors, all of these beings melt into light and dissolve into the central figure of Shakyamuni Buddha. And now Shakyamuni Buddha embodies the three jewels. And this Buddha absorbs into the Buddha on the crown of your head. And then as we recite the Buddha's mantra, try to let your mind be very open and receptive. Imagine this white light flowing into you from the Buddha on the crown of your head. It purifies all your negativities, all your obscurations, and it generates within you the realizations of the stages of the path. So we'll recite the Buddha's mantra together. Tayata Om Mune Mune Maha Mune Soha. 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 Now, re-establish the visualization of Shakyamuni Buddha above the crown of your head, made of golden, transparent, radiant light, a living being. And this Buddha melts into light and dissolves into you. Your body, speech, and mind become inseparable from those of the Buddha. And then we'll make the dedication prayers, starting on the page that we're on in the sadhana, which is 27. Due to this merit, may we soon attain the awakened state of Guru Buddha, that we may be able to liberate all sentient beings from their suffering. May the precious Bodhi mind, not yet born, arise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore.
Okay. So that's the meditation. And next I'm going to do, I think, the yoga and then the martial arts. Because the yoga is kind of a nice warm-up for the martial arts practice. So yesterday I played the full primary so that you could hear someone with a nice voice guiding us through it while I demonstrate the practice. So I'll see if I can find someone with a short practice. Nah, I'm just gonna play some really chill music. Or maybe sort of chill music. So this is some funny music. It's not exactly chill, but it's really trippy, which is fun for yoga. And I will get ready for the practice and begin here in just a minute. This is Terrence McKenna you're gonna hear.
Akira. I guess it keeps coming up to people. What are we supposed to do?
Excuse me.
Well, I keep saying, de-emphasize anxiety. Reassure people. You meet people who say, I'm really scared. I'm scared about my job. I'm scared. It's just, don't worry. You don't know enough to worry. That's God's truth. Worry. Who do you think you are that you should worry, for crying out loud? Don't worry. That's God's truth. It's a total waste of time. It presupposes such a knowledge of the situation that it is in fact a form of hubris. What you do is just pay your bills and, pack heat if you need to, and don't worry. That's all. Yes. Worry is praying to the devil. That's great. Worry is betting against yourself. Wi Po Yang, a great Chinese Taoist who wrote many, many commentaries on the I Ching, he was asked at the end of his life, what was his conclusion of a
We're about
life
to do
of
some yoga.
studying the I Ching? He said, worry is preposterous. That was it. Don't worry. You don't know enough to worry. That's God's truth. Worry. Who do you think you are that you should worry, for crying out loud? Don't worry. That's God's truth. I tell you, it is preposterous. What has never been said, to see what has never been seen. Draw, paint, sing, sculpt, dance, and act what has never before been done. To push the envelope of creativity and language. And what's really important is, I call it the felt presence of direct experience, which is a fancy term which just simply means we have to stop consuming our culture. We have to stop consuming our culture. We have to create culture. Don't watch TV. Don't read magazines. Don't even listen to NPR. Create your own road show. The nexus of space and time, where you are now, is the most immediate sector of your universe. And if you're worrying about Michael Jackson or Bill Clinton or somebody else, then you're disempowered. You're giving it all away to icons. Icons which are maintained by an electronic media, so that you want to dress like X or have lips like Y. This is shit brains, this kind of thinking. That is all cultural diversion. And what is real is you and your friends and your association, your highs, your orgasms, your hopes, your plans, your fears. And we're told, no, we're unimportant. We're peripheral. Get a degree, get a job, get a this, get a that, and then you're a player. You don't even want to play in that game. You want to reclaim your mind and get it out of the hands of the cultural engineers who want to turn you into a half-baked moron consuming all this trash that's being manufactured out of the bones of a dying world. Where is that at? Where is that at? Where is that at? Catalyst to say what has never been said, to see what has never been seen. Draw, paint, sing, sculpt, dance, and act what has never before been done. To say what has never been said, to see what has never been seen. Draw, paint, sing, sculpt, dance, and act what has never before been done. Catalyst to say what has never been said, to see what has never been seen. Draw, paint, sing, sculpt, dance, and act what has never before been done. To say what has never been said, to see what has never been seen. Draw, paint, sing, sculpt, dance, and act what has never before been done. Reclaim your mind. then we came up with a yet more elaborate theory, which I somewhat prefer. The only country that has really taken an interest in these crop circles, other than the English themselves, are the Japanese. This has gotten immense coverage in Japan, in the popular press. When you go to these crop circles, the number of Japanese is astonishing. MITI, which is the Ministry of Trade and Industry, is obviously carrying on a clandestine project in the study of semiotics, in the study of the Western mind and how it relates to the manipulation of certain symbols, because they are in charge of marketing and advertising and creating a marketing psychology in Japan. So what I think we're dealing with here is a ultra-clandestine team of ninja stem snappers who pose as Japanese tourists and television crews and so forth, and then at the drop of a hat can flash into the stem snapping mode, create these things, and the press that it generates and the discussion provides a very deep index into the English mind. Notice how eerily appealing to the English mind this is, and it's possible that you can extend this to the cattle mutilations of a few years ago in the Midwest. The relationship of cattle mutilation in the lonely western prairies under a crescent moon, the relationship of that image to the American mystique of the lonesome cowboy and the gunfight at the OK Corral and all that is eerily similar to the relationship of the English mind to its earth mysteries out there on the Salisbury Plain. It's a human agency, and that therefore it's some kind of a disinformation project. They were shocked at my lack of sensitivity to the emerging messages from the telluric depths of the suffering earth. Hey, maybe it's happening, but I was raised in the tradition of Occam's razor, which says hypotheses should not be multiplied without necessity, and I saw no necessity of reaching out to that. I should make it clear, I don't believe this stuff. I don't believe this stuff. I don't believe this stuff. From a distance, you can hear the brass and the drum as they get closer. And it begins as a sound, very interesting. It begins as a sound, and as it gets louder, there comes a point where imperceptibly it becomes visible. And then all I can say is it gets bigger. Just like someone marching toward you through three-dimensional space. Marching toward you through three-dimensional space. And so it goes from being a little phenomenon on the horizon of your awareness to you're there, you're with them, you're playing the tuba, you're marching is a wonderful place for children, but it has behind that a dark side, my own earliest reminiscence of what I could call erotic awareness. I must have been very, very young, under 3, because I was being held by people, and I was taken to a circus, and there was a woman there in a tiny G-string costume, spinning, hanging by her teeth up near the, and it was all there. It was all there. It was all there. Death and eros and risk and drama, and I got it. I got it. So there's all that in the circus, but then there's also the wiggy side, bearded lady, the goat-faced boy, the thing in the bottle, that's the circus. The circus. DMT is somehow the cosmic circus. The circus. The circus. The cosmic circus. And then just the main event. And then the circus packs up and leaves and everything is the same except there's paper blowing around the wind. And every little boy and girl with their senses to run and join the circus. So this is the archetype of DMT, completely self-contained, transformative world filled with all kinds of implications. I encounter self-transforming elf machines, which are creatures, entities, perhaps, although they're not made out of matter. They're made out of syntax driving light. It's one of the most challenging parts of the whole psychedelic landscape. Most people can accept the idea of disordered sensory input, recovery of traumatic memory material, but what are we to do with an elf? What are we to do with an elf? What are we to do with an elf? That becomes a little harder to contextualize in psychoanalytic theory, although Jung did a good job when he said autonomous elements can escape from the psyche's control and present themselves as independent entities. I'm not sure he's ever seen a self-transforming elf machine. It's the defining characteristic of the true DMT flash. It is not subtle. These things mob you like badly trained Rottweilers. They come bounding forward by the dozens, by the hundred. They jump into your body. They jump out of your body. It maps to some degree over the archetype of the little people, the leprechaun, the fae, and being Irish and being Jungian. I'm willing to entertain, maybe I have a special relationship to this stuff. But then in the Amazon, the people using DMT that I studied, the reason they did it, they said, was to speak with the little people. Was to speak with the little people. What are we to do with an elf? say, the Irish model. They are small, full of merriment, almost to a manic and frightening level. It's sort of like a Bugs Bunny cartoon gone berserk. They are friendly, but play rough. It's a land of explosions and falling anvils. The overwhelming feeling is love, this kind of crazy, childish affection, and they're delighted to have me in their presence. These entities have an agenda. It's a very curious agenda. They use a language which you see. It is made out of sound, but you see it. And the entire point of the encounter seems to be to teach you to do this. They want you to transform your language. They want you to speak elfish. You know what? If you've never done DMT and you just smoked it and you're 30 seconds into this experience and this is what it's come down to, for solving our problem is a mass migration into the past. We could literally dump this whole scene and go 100 million years into the past of the planet, then set up there in a confined zone. If it were only 10,000 years deep, it would never show in any fossil record. If we held ourselves to a 10,000-year wide window, that's such a brief period of time and so long ago that we would basically just appear to have disappeared. I think this is a haunted planet, and we are a haunted species. I think this is a haunted planet, and we are a haunted species. Every solid body in the solar system is heavily cratered. I think this is a haunted planet, and we are a haunted species. Some of these craters are planet smashers. There is considerable and ever-increasing evidence that the cosmic neighborhood is barely unstable. Is it possible that biology is somehow prescient, that biology somehow exists in eternity and knows the fate of the planet, and that what we are is a desperate strategy of escape, and that the planet actually can sense the possibility of a complete life-destroying asteroidal impact? I think this is a haunted planet, and we are a haunted species. I think this is a haunted planet, and we are a haunted species. Every solid body in the solar system is heavily cratered. I think this is a haunted planet, and we are a haunted species. A species, a bipedal monkey with binocular vision, has been led into the antechamber of nature's secrets in order to build machineries and unleash energies sufficient to either deflect that incoming object or flee the planet in anticipation of it. One of the reasons I've preached DMT so furiously is I just want a larger body of people to take it so that we can compare data. We need to understand, how is this possible? It raises a it's very easy to smooth it all out and say, that the Pentagon runs it all and so forth and so on. But once you start digging, I mean, the world is a labyrinth, a sponge of interconnected labyrinthine interstices, the weirdest connections. Who knew who and what they were doing about it. And then, these reports that come in, and some are false and some are true, but the sum total of it all is to paint a picture of excruciating weirdness. Excruciating weirdness. Excruciating weirdness. People are just not pushing the right buttons. I guarantee you, you take 5 dried grams of psilocybin in silent darkness in your own living room on a Saturday night. You will see things no one has ever seen before and no one will ever see again. These things are real. These things are real. These things are real. They have existential validity. They have the power to move hearts and change lives if we can but bring them back into the domain of the group mind, of the tribal campfire. We are surrounded by oceans of alien beauty, alien intent, bizarre ideas. I mean, I'm convinced that these things which the kikes offer in the DMT holding pen are idea systems, ultimately. The time wave, which, took me 4 years to create and requires computer assistance and all this stuff, it was just one of those things. I mean, they have closets full of this stuff, and they just pull it out and show it to you and take it away. Oh, you like that? Try this. How about this? Each one of these things stretches the monkey mind to its limits. To its limits. Each one of these things stretches the monkey mind to its limits. To its limits. I am a rationalist, and yet if you press into these weird zones, you can overcome what I call the trailer court syndrome. Crop circles are such fun. It is a wonderful example of my contention that the world is made of language. Because whatever the crop circles are, what they are is glyphs of some sort. I mean, they are designed to be seen. It would be absurd to maintain that someone was trying not to be seen. So these crop crop circles are to be looked at, and then radiating out from the act of looking at them. Reality ripples. Reality ripples. Reality ripples like air above a desert highway. No one seems to think it's weird that all of these Earth Mysteries people in England, this tremendous mystery just happens to be within a 3-hour drive of their front door. I mean, why isn't it happening in the steppes of Central Asia? Obviously, it seems to me, it is to be seen by the very people who would then offer an explanation of it. Well, now, Jacques Vallée is the person who pioneered in the study of flying saucers. He said the way to understand flying saucers is don't ask who's inside or where do they come from. Ask what effect are they having. If you assume they are succeeding in what they want to do, then watch what they do and you will see what their purpose is. See what their purpose is. Okay, so what effect are the crop circles having? They are a magnet for the fringe establishment of the British Isles to come out of the woodwork and proclaim the imminence of some great event. And they have come more and more out on this limb. What I speculated to Rupert was that MI5, which is British intelligence, it's possible that they could actually view the New Age as a resurgence of paganism that threatens the Christian establishment of Anglican England. And so what they have done is they've created a disinformation program. They will lure all these people out onto this limb where they are all saying, couldn't be done by human beings, absolutely beyond the power of science to explain. And then they will reveal a team of MI5 folks who say, watch, we'll do it for world TV. You people are all flakes. You should never have gained the power in this society that you have, and now you do have to go find honest work. Not a very scientific part of the rap because it's very hard to convince people that there are non-human intelligences this side of Genebel Ganubi. And when you tell them that these non-human intelligences are accessed through the diminutive mushrooms growing on their front lawn, they just write you off as a squirrel. But this question of the non-human intelligences is very, very much on the agenda. All shamans in all times and places have claimed this. The thing that so pleases me about DMT
So I'm gonna go ahead and stop there. What I was just doing was some body coordinations. 3 punches and a kick, body coordination. That's the full body cardio, and then I do a minute of legs, like 1 minute of kicking. Then I do like a minute of boxing combos for the arms, and then a minute of head movement for the core. And then that's the basic format for, all 4 sets of the high intensity interval training workout. And I'm just doing the short version today, so please like, share, and subscribe my content, this video, the channel. I have been doing the same kind of routine the last few times, and after about 2 months I'll switch it up. So that way I've really internalized each of these exercises. So yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the music. It's from Akira the Don channel on YouTube. And I gotta eat and then hit the road and get some more work done because the lunch shift was slow. So yeah, Google me, Google Dan Baker, political prisoner, Google Dan Baker combat footage. You can watch me fight against ISIS and read about how I was a political prisoner for 2.5 years and I'm still on probation. So, and then I'm asking people to do that to raise awareness about me, my situation, because on a daily basis I still face targeted harassment. Even when I'm out at work doing deliveries, random people come up to me and start asking me about things that, I'm like, that's a very interesting question for a stranger to be asking me. And they're basically trying to get me to say something radical, so yeah. But as you can see, I live peacefully. I do my self-defense exercises. When I cannot go to the gym, I live stream it to motivate myself to keep doing this every day because it's tough. And I do my yoga and the meditation for peace, and I share the meditation that I do to encourage other people to practice, to internalize a routine of reinforcing ethics and finding peace for themselves and for other people. So yeah, that's what I'm about. Have a good one. Thanks again for watching.